Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining another session of Azure Power Lunch. Today, we have the team from Barracuda, who are our great partner. In Azure, they were one of the first to bring in, a network virtual appliances in Azure, and they're going to be talking about some of the innovations that they're doing in Azure. So, Tom and your team, please take over. Floor is
Sounds
yours.
good. Thank you, Naveed. Good morning, everyone. This is Tom McKenzie with Barracuda Networks. Thank you for the opportunity to go over some technology with you on this Azure Power Lunch. I just had a few quick slides I wanted to get through, and then we'll get into the technical portion of the briefing where my associate Nikhil will drive you through the technology, and I think you'll really like what you see. But just to set the stage, for those of you that may not be real familiar with Barracuda and what we've done in Azure, we as a vendor and ISV were one of the earliest adopters of Azure. Our products have been available in Azure for 6 years. We actually were one of the initial vendors and products in the marketplace when Microsoft first launched their gallery before they even called it the marketplace. And there were only about 6 vendors in it at the time. Barracuda was one of those 6. So when Scott Guthrie from Microsoft stood up in front of the Global Partner Conference, he actually demonstrated the gallery using a deployment of the Barracuda WAF. So he literally deployed our WAF in Azure in a few minutes on the demo that he had done on the stage. So I tell you that just to let you know that we've been doing Azure for a long time. To date, we have over 2,000 customers running our security products in Azure. So for customers that are first getting started with Azure, we help create a really nice landing zone in Azure so that they can be comfortable that the workloads and the applications that they're migrating into Azure are secure. And for those that are further along on their cloud journey and they're working with infrastructure as a service and they're doing more and more with platform as a service and serverless and so on, we help along the way as well, because everything that we do is very cloud centric. We have sort of 3, if you will, product sets that run in Azure or work with Azure that we're going to touch on. And Nikhil is going to show you some of this at a technical level. Those products are, first of all, our CloudGen firewall product. This is a product that provides not only security inside of Azure, but also a lot of connectivity capabilities. So a lot of our customers use this product for secure VPN connectivity into Azure, both from a site-to-site as well as a client-to-site point of view. It also can be used for managing traffic within Azure itself. So, it does those types of things for east-west traffic as well as north-south traffic. It's got all of the capabilities that you'd expect from a next-generation firewall. So it's application-aware, it's user-aware, port and packet inspection. It does URL filtering. It actually integrates very well with the Azure vWAN as well. So for customers that are very interested in Azure vWAN, the Barracuda firewall in Azure integrates with that very, very nicely. So it works extremely well. The next product is our web application firewall. And this actually comes in a couple of different deployment options. It can be run as a VM or a cluster of VMs with auto scaling in Azure, or it can be run purely as a software as a service. So depending upon what you prefer, if you want to run VMs and manage VMs, or if you just want to use it as a service, you can do that either way. It's available in both ways. Those products are basically about securing web applications, securing mobile applications as well as just pure API level security are the technical use cases around the WAF. And then lastly, we have our new Cloud Security Guardian product, which runs as a software as a service and can help organizations understand their entire Azure environment. So it takes advantage of the native APIs that Microsoft's made available within Azure, like the Graph API, to gather telemetry about all of the assets that a customer has across all of your Azure regions, all of your data centers, all of your VNets, everything, whether they're VMs, containers, load balancers, services. It gives you full visibility into the environment and then lets you apply compliance benchmarks against your environment on an ongoing basis. So it does continual assessments of your Azure environment to show you where you fit relative to compliance for things like CIS benchmarks, NIST, HIPAA, and PCI. And with that, and pass control to Nikhil, and we can get into the demo itself. I'll stop sharing my screen.
All right. All right, guys, as Tom has mentioned, we have existing in data layer for quite over 15 years. And this is the new product we will be focusing on today, Cloud Security Guardian, that goes beyond the data layer, and it tightly integrates with a control and a management plane. So this was the product that was built with the tagline, build fast and stay secure. It essentially helps businesses build cloud applications faster while still staying secure, which accelerates public cloud adoption by delivering visibility, continuous compliance, and automatic remediation. So companies can build applications faster, utilize cloud native services, and shift more workloads to the cloud, and all while still staying secure. So I would switch to this slide. This was the product that was essentially built to cover different perspectives. From a CISO perspective, where the problem is cloud environments in the organization are wild, wild west, and teams are standing up instances in Azure every day, and we lack visibility into control over what people are doing, and we are terrified about my risk and compliance posture, and also lacks the tool and expertise to rein things in. So this product provides a visibility, a compliance, and a automatic remediation by a single click fix, or by providing a recipe, which is a step-by-step instruction you can follow to remediate any of the policy violations you might see. Then there's another perspective, which is the developer perspective, who need more agility when building up an application. They need to build one or hundreds of applications and services, and they need to keep moving faster. They do not want to be slowed down by the processes and meetings with the information security team, and they are under pressure to get the functionality into the hands of the customer and as quickly as possible. So this is the product that would automate the security posture, provide speed and agility, making sure that it's built within the security guardrails in the cloud. Moving over to the next slide. So that's what it does, discover and visualize the application and assets and configurations within a cloud environment, define policies aligned to the best practices, external frameworks, and benchmarks. And it assesses compliance and identify control gaps and vulnerabilities based on a predefined template, PCI, NIST, HIPAA, CIS, or some of the custom benchmarks we have. Our customers has ability to create a custom template based on what their security posture should look like. And then a suggestion and deploying a controls as applications are being built. And finally, automatically fixing the configuration loopholes and remediating any vulnerabilities that were found out based on the scan that was run on a predefined template or a custom template. This is a summary report that would help you to start building up your security posture and getting the product deployed in. This is just a sample report. So essentially, we have different ways to start a trial. We have two different versions of the product. There's version 1, which is the detailed version where you create an account on the SaaS console, and which deploys where you need to manually go in there and create an application service principal, assign it a contributor role. There's the second version of that, which is a free scan and assessment tool that you can just send out to the customers, cst.barracudanetworks.com/scan. And essentially, it would automatically pull up any of the privileges it might need from the cloud perspective and it's going to auto-deploy an application with a service principal and sufficient privileges so it can read and write the data um, into the cloud. Let me switch to the console real quick. I'm going to reshare my screen. So I hope you guys can see the CSG console. So that's the version 2 of the CSG tool.
Nikhil, I'm only seeing the PowerPoint.
Oh, you still see the PowerPoint? Okay, give me just a second here. How about now?
Yep.
All right, cool. So this is the version 2 of the tool, which is a free scanner and assessment tool available. You can simply navigate to csg.barracuda.networks.com/scan and essentially fill in your information there. Once you fill in an information, you can hit scan my public cloud, and it's going to prompt you to connect to one of your subscriptions. So let's say I connect to Azure account. It's going to ask me to pick an account I need to connect with. Once I pick an account and type in the credentials, it's going to go in there and deploy a application and a service principal, and it's going to initiate a scan and provide you with a PDF report. That would be a preliminary report that you can go through and see what vulnerabilities were found out and where are the security loops within your cloud security posture. So that's a handy tool. And then there's a detailed version of the tool where you can visualize your cloud posture. You can discover any of the alerts that were found out during the scan, and then you can implement any control or compliance assessment. So let me quickly log into my account here. All right, so that's how the console looks like. We have an option, manage account. Now, manage account could be a company-wide account, or it could be a specific business unit within a company. Creating an account or managing an account would show you what services you have configured and what the scan results are, just some overview of that. The very first thing you do is onboard a cloud service provider and add a cloud service subscription. So if I click on Azure, so that's what the details are needed: subscription ID, directory and tenant ID, application ID, and a secret key. Once you punch in the details, it's going to add a cloud service provider to your account, and multiple cloud service providers can be added to your account. As soon as you do that, it's going to deploy a stack, and it's going to visualize your different data centers and different regions where you have your workloads built in. And it would show you a cloud infrastructure of your workloads, including IaaS and PaaS services. Clicking on each of these workloads would give you additional details corresponding to those. And there's a tabular section at the top, which would show you additional details for virtual network, for virtual machines, for network architecture. And if you have any user-defined route tables for a particular VNet, it's going to show you the routes as well as in the traffic flow or the data path that's taken out by the packets. You can generate a detailed summary report for different time frames that would show you a very high-level summary of what we found out within your particular data center. Now, how it works typically. So when you create or onboard a cloud subscription, what we do is we essentially deploy a stack, a compliance stack within each US data center. And that ingests the data from the Azure Security Center or Azure Event Hub. And we run a scan based on that data, based on a predefined policy templates that we have. And we report that data, notify the admin users based on what policy violations we see. So if you look at the predefined templates for different compliance, we have roughly 140 to 150 compliance policies built in based on PCI, custom, CIS, and some HIPAA and NIST. You can use one of the predefined templates to run a scan, or you can create your own custom templates too. Going back to security and compliance piece, you can activate the scan on any one of the data centers based on one of the predefined templates for the compliance policies. And once the scan is complete, it's going to show you an alert. You can select a particular cloud service provider which you want to see the alerts for. You can customize the time frame you want to see the alerts for. And it's going to show you all the alerts, all the failed alerts within the alert section. Now, when it comes to remediation, there are two different options. Like I said, there's a single click fix. If you simply hit remediate, it would show you all the offenders for that particular policy violation. And hitting on remediate would fix all these offenders. So for an instance, in this case, it would remove the RDP port from a security rule group. And then there's a schema or a recipe. You can follow this step-by-step instructions to put a fix in place anytime you see a policy violation occurring. And these violations shows you additional details, as in what security group or what resource group, what subscription we see that policy violation coming from. When we initially deploy a compliance stack, it runs a complete scan on that data center. And every 20 minutes, it's going to scan the data center to look for any policy violations. And it also triggers a delta scan anytime a change is made to your workload. So if user is making a change, we would run a scan against that delta change, and we would notify admin users based on that. Event shows you when the scan was last run and on what data centers the scan was run. Notifications, you absolutely have capability to notify admin users using email, Slack, or Microsoft Teams, where you can simply punch in the incoming webhook URL for that, or Sumo Logic. So this product is a fully API-driven product where everything can be configured and managed using the REST APIs. The main differentiators here are it has a data plane level integration where flow logs are low fidelity logs, but this guy can directly grab the logs from Microsoft's Secure Graph APIs, and it also secures data in motion as well as data in rest. It has a multi-cloud support, and it's proof for hybrid environments. Well, that's all I had. Any questions?
Hi, I have one question. In terms of the consumption, this service, it seems like it's a kind of a SaaS service. So will they have to pay if they have an Azure credit? Will it take out from their Azure credit, or is this something that Barracuda we have to get it from? I mean, the customer has to get it from Barracuda.
Tom?
Yes. So it is a software as a service. That's correct. As a part of working with Azure, there is a small runtime compute instance that runs in Azure that the product uses to gather the telemetry. The cost of that the customer can expect is less than $5 a month. So it's pretty much free as far as the compute within Azure itself.
No. But what I'm asking is like, let's say they have made an Azure commitment. Will it withdraw from that commitment, or they will have to sign a separate agreement with you guys to use this tool?
This right today, the way that that's set up, because Barracuda is an independent software vendor, we are an ISV, and I don't believe that Microsoft allows their Azure agreements to use ISVs. If Microsoft changes that policy, they would be able to. But generally today, a customer would license it from Barracuda. They could do it directly from the Azure Marketplace under a pay-as-you-go. That's available. It's out there right now. Or if for cost savings, if they want to do a 12-month or multi-year subscription, they can do it that way through a bring your own license.
Perfect. Thank you. I just want to clarify that.
And yeah, and just to be clear, because it's a great question, the way that the price is determined is based on the number of VMs that are in the environment. So based on that is how the price goes. That's not to say that it only manages VMs, because as you saw, it can manage everything. So it's actually advantageous for customers that are doing a lot with platform as a service, because we can monitor that and alert on that, and that more or less is free, because we're not counting PaaS services in any way. The price is derived just strictly based on the number of current virtual machines in the environment.
Makes perfect sense. Thanks for answering my question. Anybody else, if they have any question, please open the mic and ask. Go ahead.
Anyone who's interested in testing this product out, just contact us at barracuda.com. We can make the product available for a free trial, and look forward to it.
And by the way, Tom, one question. Will you be sharing this presentation? I mean, if you can just share the PDF, that should be good. And if you can include if you have any email addresses there, people can reach out, feel
Yes.
free to add those as well in that slide deck.
Naveed, we'll do that. We'll send that to you today.
Okay, great.
Otherwise, thank you all very much for your time. It was a pleasure to be on this Azure Power Lunch with you today.
Thank you very much, folks. And I will give back, if there are no questions, I will give everybody back their 6 minutes, and hope to see everyone next week. Thank you, Barracuda.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Bye.